Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome back to our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. We are accompanied once again, Cooper, second night in a row, coming back from his couple-week hiatus. We got JD and we got the Perm Dog. How are you guys doing?
It's good. It's good to be back for another week.
Yeah, it's good to be back on the show finally.
There is a lot to talk about. We are coming off the heels of WWE Money in the Bank. We got a new women's champion tonight, crowned on Monday Night Raw, which we will get into a little bit later. We are on the road to WWE Backlash, which will be in just about another less than 6 weeks from now. But first, we need to talk about our Money in the Bank winners.
Yeah.
Very interesting decisions that they made last night. One of them you can make a strong case for. The other one, I threw me for a loop.
So it threw everybody for a loop.
First one, we see Asuka winning the Money in the Bank for the women's side. Otis for the men's side. Your thoughts, Jay?
If it wasn't going to be AJ, I'm happy it's Otis. Like I said, Otis was a feel-good story. That's what I like. Clearly, it's not going to go anywhere. He's going to either A, try and cash it in and lose, or put it up for a stipulation match and lose it. But I like that he finally gets a win. He got his little Rocky moment. I dig it. I like it. You know, you need something different.
I mean, that was different, all right.
Yeah.
Very.
But again, he's a fan favorite, so I like it. You know, cater to him a little bit. He's been money throughout this whole quarantine.
Absolutely. Perndall, your thoughts on last night's Money in the Bank winners?
I like Otis because he's a direct relative of the Golden Age. It seems like he has that 80s style. You know, I like the belly rubbing. Like he comes out in his underwear and he's ready to dance all the time. I love the stuff that comes out of his mouth. It's a little nuts, and you see him online. He's like super strong dude. He could throw anybody around. I enjoy watching him. I think he's funny. I think he came up with like a decent finisher. You know, he stole the worm a little bit, but he puts on a great show, man. So, you know, I'm all about Otis. Come out, a little belly slap, and get everybody going, baby. That's what I really like. But yeah, man, steak and eggs. But as far as being the champ, we have to discuss that for sure. You know, we're gonna have to get into that, because if he ends up being the champ, you got to add a little seriousness to your character. You know, there hasn't been a holly jolly champ in about 35 years. So, you know, we're gonna have to see what's going on with Otis. Is he the real deal? Can he handle it? Can he hold the gold, baby? I don't know. Oh, there's one thing, ain't gonna go around his waist. Nah, it ain't gonna fit there. It's gonna be over the shoulder. All right, it's gonna be glistening. The sweat's gonna be glistening off the title. You know, but maybe he could do it. The underdog rises again. I want to see it, baby. Thank you for the featurette. Go all night.
Oh boy, how do you follow
Cooper,
that
on
up?
to you. Your thoughts.
All right, back on planet Earth, we good analysis kind of like that, but that's the same vibe I'm getting from Otis. He really did. He's one of those superstars that we've talked about has taken advantage of the quarantine and everything, and people not showing up, and he's just had the spotlight and he's been able to run with it. So they've got the faith in him right now. My only concern is what you brought up, Jay, was is he going to pull a Damian Sandow and have to put the briefcase up, and he's going to end up losing it? Like that thing he had going on with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, is he going to come out of nowhere and, become Mr. Money in the Bank again? One other angle that has been brought up was, what if he transfers the briefcase to Mandy And, Bailey's laying out in the middle of the ring after a match one night, and Mandy's music hits and Otis runs out with him. He gives her the briefcase and she cashes in. So, I mean, is that power over him, or does she have that kind of power over him? Is he?
Well, is the briefcase transferable?
In WWE, I will say anything goes.
Yeah. Is it gender neutral? We don't know.
Exactly. But Otis does have that feel good to it. He has that very Dusty Rhodes vibe. So he's the working class man. He's blue collar, staking weights. Just he's gonna get out there, pound his chest. He doesn't care that he has a belly that can stick 6 feet out from the ring. He's gonna get out there, do the worm. Dusty loved to dance in the middle of the ring too. Very colorful character. He's kind of mimicking that right now. So he's trying to play that modern day Dusty role. And I think a lot of people love it. I mean, everybody loved Dusty. So that Mandy pitched that story herself to do with Otis. So,
Right.
You have this blonde bombshell who wants to work with this big fella. You've got buy-in backstage from other people. And that's a testament to the person themselves as well. So hopefully they do him justice. It's just trying to figure out how to do it right and get him in there.
So you guys don't think that this is a waste of a Money in the Bank briefcase?
I wouldn't call it a waste.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you can do with it. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it right. Right? Because Otis has a lot of steam behind him. He is a fan favorite. Everybody, I haven't met anybody that hasn't liked him yet. So let it roll. Let him have some steam with it. I think, like I said, I think he's gonna give it up in a stipulation match. Cooper said the same thing, sort of. I think that's the way to go. Honestly, if you don't want him champion, then let him drop it at a stipulation match, and that's fine. I think he's better suited for the tag team titles first, and then maybe a mid card if his character shifts. But the way his character stands now, he's not there to be taken seriously for a mid card title anyway.
Yeah, I mean, some has speculated that he might use his Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in with Tucker on the SmackDown tag team champions. Which is
Something new.
I like that.
something new. I'm not a fan of it by any means.
If it gets it off the New Day,
yeah, that's true. I've always correlated the Money in the Bank winner to challenge for the heavyweight championship, kind of like King of the Ring style.
Yeah.
And that's how we've always seen it. So I'm not too sure if I would be a fan of that. I can personally foresee Otis losing the Money in the Bank briefcase to maybe Baron Corbin or Dolph Ziggler. I mean, for next week, we're having Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Who knows? Baron Corbin may win it off of Otis this Friday night. Maybe throws out a challenge and then goes to Raw with the briefcase. We don't know where they're going to go with that. I don't see Dolph Ziggler either as a main eventer right now. He would need to have some time to build himself up again, because right now he's just way out there. He's mid card at best. So I don't see Dolph Ziggler being a champion anytime soon. That would just be kind of like out of left field. It could make sense. This is the two who've been feuding, but I personally don't see anywhere anything happening with Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin could be a little bit more suited to take that suitcase off, and then have a heel, which heels have always done better with the briefcase. Have a heel run with that suitcase for a while. A lot of possibilities. I mean, like you guys said, with Mandy could easily maybe coerce Otis to take get in that suitcase and maybe turn on Otis. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
possibilities. AJ Styles was the clear favorite. I don't know why that didn't happen or why Corbin. And there was no logical sense as to why Asuka and Corbin are fighting over the suitcase before that match ended last night.
I guess make her look stronger.
Yeah, I don't understand that. either. Honestly, I wasn't even a fan of that format anyway. I think they did it very silly. I think it could have been a lot better done, but yeah, a lot of those things didn't make sense. But I do like the idea of Otis challenging for the tag titles. Like, make it different, make it relevant. I like that because it is a contention of his choosing. So why not the tag titles?
And
that would be a good
that's a
start.
route that they could go.
The only downside I see to that is there have been so many times over the last year that Heavy Machinery had the chance to win the titles, and I would go into a pay-per-view. I'm like, okay, this is the one that they're going to win it. No, New Day wins again.
Right.
So I don't know how they're going to play this out with Otis having the briefcase. We've spoken a half a dozen different things into existence at this point and just spitballing
Well,
ideas. So it's
we're
wide
so
open.
we're so used to them like dropping the ball on certain guys, like with Damian Sandow, for instance. There was so much hype. If you ever went to a live show when Damian Sandow was doing his thing, it was crazy. He was so over with the crowd, obviously over with the fans at home. I thought they were setting up like a Miz title match at WrestleMania with them, but then they just dropped the ball with it. So you have a fun character. You got a guy that could appeal to a lot of people. Kind of like coming out of nowhere. He's a hard worker, but I think that we're so used to them dropping the ball on something like this. A tag title thing would be perfect because you're not thrusting him into the spotlight of being a world champ. You get him, you get some gold around his waist, and maybe down the line, because he already was the singles guy, then he'd go back and be the champ. But it's like we're so used to it because we're all like talking like this because we're so used to it. No, he's just gonna drop it, and then someone else is gonna get it. It's not really fair to Otis. Let's see if Otis has his day. But I think you guys are right. I think they're gonna have some kind of swerve on us. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Otis has been on a major luck streak as of late, especially with Mandy.
Oh yeah, he lucked out.
Yep.
Beauty and the
Yep.
Beast.
Yeah, it's a feel good story all around.
Yep. Yeah, it's good.
So, that being said, moving on, Monday Night Raw, we had ourselves a pretty good show to talk about. My head wasn't buried in the cell phone as much, unless I was just, taking some notes about tonight's show. So that's a pretty good sign. If you can keep my attention, I'm happy. I don't know about you guys, but it was a pretty good show. So today we were hearing rumblings of rumors of Becky Lynch's big announcement, and did she drop a bombshell tonight on Monday Night Raw if I've ever seen one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Becky Lynch coming out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I thought was odd. I was wondering where her belt was, and then she's interrupted by Asuka. And Becky Lynch goes on to say that this match wasn't really for the women, for the Money in the Bank, but it was for something greater. And basically, it was a decision between Becky Lynch and the executives, the decision making backstage, that it would be for the women's title. But the ladies didn't know that at the time until Becky revealed that tonight, that she's going to be a mother and that Asuka is now the new women's champion. She basically comes out and tells Asuka that title, that match last night was something more than the Money in the Bank briefcase, but for the women's title. And what did you guys think of this? And I thought Asuka did a pretty good job here. A little overselling her reaction, but I thought she did a good job here. I thought it was somewhat of an emotional segment, although the element of surprise was kind of gone by the time Raw was started. But it was a pretty good segment. Well done. What did you guys think of all this?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was well done. For me, I think it's good to get Becky off TV, and so that she could go be the mother, but it can kind of give everybody else a chance to thrust themselves into the limelight. I think giving it to Asuka is a smart choice. It's going to help rebuild her. As long as I think she should tailor her, or at least calm down her character she has now, that jumping around and yelling and screaming, it's a bit much. It's time to get serious. You're carrying the title. Act like a champion, in my opinion. But yeah, for me, it's a welcome break. I've grown tired of Becky for the last few months. So that's me.
I guess I'm interested in the angle with Seth Rollins because they mentioned him a couple times. Maybe with this whole like Messiah thing, how much is he willing to intertwine real life with the kayfabe? You know, is he gonna act like, you know, the baby's the second coming? Can he do a little like Matt Hardy-esque, you know, including his family into it? I'm interested in that part of it. I thought it was a good move. If they had a crowd there, the crowd would have been doing what Asuka was doing. Becky, you know, everybody would have been behind her because, you know, she's making a good decision for her family. But as far as Asuka goes, Asuka definitely is a top female performer. She goes out there. She could make you laugh. She could put on a serious match. She could roll with anybody. I think she's definitely a willing champ, and she's great. So, you know, there should be some good things in the future. I think Shayna Baszler tonight, which I'm sure you're going to go into that. She established herself as a deep dark heel, and I love it. I like, you know, even though the comments probably got a little personal, she's going to catch some flack, but it was great to just throw it out, throw something out there that's not going along with the norm, you know, just kind of you know, feel your character out. So, you know, we'll talk about that one, but yeah, Becky leaving, like, just like Jay said, you know, I haven't felt the passion from her in a while since before WrestleMania of last year. You know, when she was going after Ronda and everyone was like, you know, because Ronda's a natural and she was out to spin everybody on their heads, you know, for her to go out there and be a professional wrestler, take her down, that was a huge move, and the momentum behind it was huge. But then after that, you know, there was a lot of willing challengers, but they just didn't match up. It wasn't the same hype.
Cooper.
Yeah, I mean the segment was well done, and Becky, you could tell as soon as she grabbed the mic, like she held back whenever she walked out, and as soon as she started talking, she's like, you saw her broke immediately. So you could tell she was more excited about the announcement itself. She could have cared less. She couldn't have cared less that she gave up the title. She's all in on having this kid now. You could tell that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, that's mad props to her for that. So that's why this segment was so well done. Is she got so emotional with it that everyone was, you know, getting buy-in on it, and definitely if the crowd was there, that place would have been exploding for her.
I am calling it right now. She will be back by WrestleMania 37.
Let's see. She's due in December, so that's about 4 months or so off. Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of close. If not, maybe SummerSlam.
yeah, I mean, 12 months of maternity leave or 12 weeks of maternity leave is kind of normal in the States. So, I mean, yeah, that's about 3 months in, get a quick build in for a few weeks. But yeah, the whole Asuka aspect of it, you know, her coming out, you know, when she said you're the champion and she just lost her mind. Asuka has been, you know, she's been the featured female on Raw besides Becky for a while. So just the way her acting crazy, you know, all her random ramblings and everything. And then, you know, when Becky told her, it's like, hey, you go be the warrior, because I'm going to go and be a mother. It's like Asuka's reaction was pretty natural. And it's like, mother? She's like, and then she was like, oh my God, congratulations. And it's like, she kind of broke down with her too. Because, I mean, not all of them, you know, read the tabloids and everything or the online rumors. They just roll with the punches and everything. Honestly, I would have loved to have known if Asuka knew what was going to happen backstage, if they filled her in, or if it was just going to be a complete surprise.
By her reaction, it almost looked like it was just a complete surprise. Like, it looked like a genuine, like, oh, damn, like you're pregnant. That's cool.
I mean, just even the winning the champion, or, you know, saying, hey, you're the champion. If this is something that was in the works and they kind of kept it hidden and only a few people knew about this, like, I would have loved to have been surprised on live television tonight. So I hope that was kind of genuine too.
Yeah.
That may have been Becky Lynch's official announcement to not only the world, of course, but to her coworkers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that Asuka was probably in on it. But yeah, other than that, I would say she probably is. She kept this under a wrap for sure.
hmm
So awesome segment we got there. People were messaging me about it left and right. She's not going to be around until the end of the year now, and I would suspect that as soon as she comes back, people are going to be even happier to see her. Hopefully, we'll have fans in the arena by then, which we should.
Yeah.
But moving on, we won't talk too much about this one, but we had Bobby Lashley defeating Carrillo by submission with the full Nelson. It was a no DQ match. I kind of liked what I saw out of Carrillo. He showed a little bit of aggression, but in the end, Bobby Lashley gets the win, and throughout Raw, getting that motivation by MVP. Looks like Bobby Lashley is being taken under the wing of MVP. What did you guys think of this tonight?
Yeah, I like that Humberto Carrillo's getting a little more featured. When he first came to WWE, they were giving him some screen time. Then he kind of fell off, and now he's back on. I like what he can do. He's got a lot of talent. But as far as the Lashley match tonight, I thought it went well. Showcased both of them perfectly. I think it showed the power in Lashley and the athleticism in Carrillo. I like that Lashley's going to be taken under the wing of MVP. It adds more depth to his character. It gives him a little guidance.
Where do they go with this? Is it a tag team, or do you see MVP more as a valet?
No, it's more of a valet, more of a manager type role for Lashley. Probably the way some of the backstage stuff went, it might be where that's what's going to cause Lashley to break away from Lana and solely be under the tutelage of MVP, in my opinion.
And as we all know, Rusev is not in WWE anymore. Lana very well could be the next to follow. This could be the storyline that gets Lana written off TV.
I hope so.
Yep. I'm begging for that.
I think Bobby, this was a long time coming. Having the talk with MVP. Yeah, he probably hasn't had a title contention since the Booker T days, the King Booker. So I think MVP was just speaking the mind of a lot of fans. You know, why is Bobby Lashley kind of like hanging around the mid card? They'll put him in like the
personality.
Is that what it is? Yeah, you know,
some people would like to rather watch the paint on the wall dry than watch a Lashley match sometimes.
Maybe, man. You know,
especially with the matches of old.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. You know, he still seems so very youthful the way he moves, and I think he has a lot of good years in him. I think he's a total monster. You know, he could pick up anybody. He could pretty much do like any power move to anyone. He's super athletic. I like Bobby Lashley. I think that having a manager is going to be huge, and not Lana. I did like the heat behind the Lana Rusev thing, but now that's all completely dead, because once you take the ex-husband out of the picture, you know, there's no more fire there. It's not like, you know, if you find out like your neighbor's cheating or something and you're waiting for the other guy to come across the street, you know, it's like that's the kind of like heat I was feeling.
Right.
But, you know, they brought some of that, but it was a little weird because Rusev was substantially smaller than he was in the past. So like you saw the size difference. So like it wasn't as like believable. So in the end, it almost justifies cutting Rusev, because it's not the same monster thing. Lashley still got it. He can still be a challenger. They'll probably have a couple matches with Drew just to see, you know, how it looks and the feel of it. But once again, you're not getting the fan reaction. So now you got the wrestlers judging the wrestlers. You got the ranks are it's being ranked by other wrestlers, and I'm sure the top guys are starting to have a say in certain things. You know, Seth Rollins could just do whatever he wants, once like Roman Reigns comes back, it'll be the same way. So they're gonna have a say in these guys. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's the paint dry personality, you know. But MVP's hungry. He's been on the road a long time. He's another dude that, he's been around the ranks. He's like perfected the craft. And he does other things outside of he keeps himself in great shape, obviously. So I'm interested in like the MVP, seeing what he's got in the mic, seeing how he puts together the stable. Seems like he has a little stable going. Let's see what it's called. Let's see what the whole theme is. They gotta start establishing that though. I think they're establishing slowly, and maybe because MVP's back after a long time, he doesn't want to mess up. But I think he should just go all out, turn it into this like thug thing, and just roll with it.
He'll go as far as what booking allows him to go to as well.
Yeah, they should really bring back the Lashley of TNA though. I mean, he was good in TNA.
Oh hell yeah!
I feel like they might be starting to do that.
That's good. That'll get more interest in him
Steve,
and start building more storylines for him and get people to care.
Well, MVP would complement him really well because MVP is a good mouthpiece
Yes.
to have. So MVP is just a few years older than Bobby. So they really look like they're about 10 years apart. MVP is looking a little old now, but Lashley still has youth and is built like a brick crap house still. So with MVP kind of running and pulling the puppet strings, he can be the wheeler and the dealer, and Bobby's just the muscle. So you can have him running for a championship and still be believable because he can be so good in the ring, but he doesn't have to speak at the same time.
Right, and we see that just in the exchange that MVP and Lashley had. We met in 2007. MVP went off and did all these things, and where are you? In the same spot. Like that right there, just that statement can explode Bobby Lashley.
And just
That's
that
the reality.
and just that 15-second interaction with Lana afterward.
Yeah.
And MVP just buried her. And then your typical Lana, she just starts screaming. She can't even do that right.
Yeah, that sounded terrible.
So
That
weird.
was very bad acting and very bad timing for screaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying too
And
hard.
that just proves the point that she needs to go with her husband. She should have been the one to go, not him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on, we had Garza came out, a match that was already underway when it came back from a commercial break. We didn't even see the entrances. We had Angel Garza defeating Tozawa. Garza's a little bit fired up, and there seems to be a little bit of dissension in the ranks of Selena Vega's camp. Garza and Austin Theory are getting into it, and then all of a sudden we see, and still WWE champion Drew McIntyre with an awesome showing last night. Great match, potential WWE match of the year, but that's another story for another topic for another time. But we see Drew McIntyre come out and he interrupts and gives both Garza and Theory the Claymore. And then he gets in Andrade's face. And all of a sudden, before we know it, we see Drew challenging Andrade. And we get an impromptu match. Typical Paul Heyman booking. So what did you guys think of the match?
I thought the match was pretty good. Strong showing for both, really. There's definitely some dissension in the Vega camp. So I think they actually might start splitting up and go their separate ways here soon and just go to being regular single stars. Again, it was a strong showing. I like that even though Andrade's carrying a mid-card title, he's still able to compete with the champion himself and put on a decent match. So, it's every match they have together just elevates Andrade more and more, and I think.
I can definitely see Andrade for sure as a future champion, but it would be one of those slow burns you would have to do. Maybe every couple of months or so have Andrade and Drew cross paths like they did tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But and who knows what the next contenders are going to be for Drew McIntyre, but Andrade works very well with Drew.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see Andrade as a champion. I think that
Wait.
U.S. title would need to go first, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I could see him working his way up, especially if he keeps doing, these style matches. It's like I said, it's just elevating him every match he does.
Perndog.
I like that. I like the match. I thought it was great. Andrade is definitely putting on good matches with the top performers. I thought the build up was kind of cool. I kind of liked the introduction match, how it was spurred a moment. They could have tied it in a little bit better, but they him coming out challenging him and then putting on a great match. Drew McIntyre is showing that he has a lot of stamina past. I think he's showing the fans that, the whole like Brock Lesnar thing was it was a shamble, because he's wrestling every 3 months or whatever the hell it was. This guy's out there, 2 nights in a row putting on A-class matches.
Right.
I felt like Drew, he busted out a nice like power bomb, like sit out, push up power bomb. Haven't seen him do, something different in a while. I like that. And I did like I'm really liking Zelina as a manager. Her reactions are spot on. They didn't really focus on her at all this week, but
Not a whole lot.
after she lost, how she put her head on the belt, and she's really feeling the matches, and you want to believe her that she wanted him to win a title, that he had a shot to beat Drew. So I'm really digging her as a manager, and they should maybe expand her if they're going to split up this little stable that's going on. Maybe expand her into other people, because that's the way like Sensational Sherry was back in the day, and she has similar things in her personality. I think that maybe she could branch out into some other superstars and maybe raise the stock a little. So all in all, a good match overall. Andrade definitely is a main event type guy, and if anything happens in the future with any of these storylines, like with Seth, or Seth needs like a time off or something, if he gets hurt again, Andrade could step in and put on some good title matches.
Cooper, this one's for you. Drew came out with a promo right after this. He gives props to Seth Rollins for an awesome match. Rightfully so. That's the face thing to do. And Drew and Seth Rollins tore it up last night.
Oh, God,
I
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
thoroughly enjoyed that.
Right.
Then the next point that Drew made was he goes on alluding to a brand-to-brand invitation and basically challenging Baron Corbin. So he announces Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Let me ask you something. In your opinion, there's a whole nother show to be done this Friday night. Does Baron Corbin challenge Otis for the Money in the Bank briefcase and run with the briefcase for quite some time, or maybe an attempt to cash in and fails on Monday?
Well, first off, if it does come to that and Corbin cashes in and fails, that's going to speak volumes, because that's going to be the second time he's cashed in and he's failed. So there's got to be something backstage going on that we're missing if that were to happen.
He may not even fail. It may just turn out to be an attempt of some sort. Who knows? It was just a thought. I'm like,
yeah.
That Baron Corbin and Otis are on the same show.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't come to that. That would be the biggest blow up and kind of the biggest waste of a Money in the Bank ladder match in history, probably. Especially in the same week that it's won, and then an 8-day turnaround for a cash in, basically, or even like teasing something. I don't see the why behind it, because Baron really isn't tailored to be WWE champion. I know you're supposed to hate heels, but I can't get behind his character. I've never gotten behind Baron Corbin. It's just he tries to be too sour, too much of a stiff heel, and I've never bought into him. I've never liked the guy. So I really hope they're not trying to build something up like that, because I'll be absolutely disgruntled with that decision if they try to make him champion or try to run with it.
I mean, it's not the best call, but WWE fans tend to complain that we keep seeing the old stuff. They keep seeing old stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And, Baron Corbin winning the belt would be fresh, even though we don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't hate on his in-ring ability. I think when you put him in stupid storylines such as dog food, I think that's the problem. I don't think that's anything of his fault.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the issue, but at the same time, I can't see him being the standard bearer for WWE. I think that's going to be one of those championship reigns that kind of goes down as one of the bad ones, like an Ultimate Warrior or Yokozuna reign. Basically.
Well, let me ask you this: when do you ever see a heel champion as a standard bearer of WWE?
I mean, for all intents and purposes, CM Punk really wasn't a face. He was kind of the anti-face, but he wasn't a full-blown heel. But he was the anti-disestablishment, but everybody was behind it because corporate and the authority were trying to be shoved down our throats. And everything was so cookie cutter for so long. And finally someone stepped in and tried to run with it.
Yeah. And you can say the same for the Rock reign. I mean, when there's a bunch of times he's carried the title as a heel, same thing with Stone Cold, at the time he was same idea as CM Punk, the anti-establishment, the working man's champion, but in WWE world, he was the heel.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as you have a good heel, which I don't think Baron Corbin is. I mean, he's good in getting the heat, but as far as anything past that, I think that's what I don't.
I mean, I've seen better heels.
Daniel Bryan as the Eco champion and the Planet's champion.
Oh yeah, there you
Phenomenal.
Go. Yep, they should have kept that going.
They should have kept that going. That gimmick had a lot of legs under it.
Like the Kofi Mania uprooted that, though. That gauntlet match where he went for an hour, that was the starting point to uprooting that.
Yeah.
But I will say real quick on that segment, A, it's about time someone in the stable got a win this week, and B, you can see where the dissension was, because even Zelina and Andrade were laughing when they both got Claymored. But the thing that is deterring me from there being a breakup, they acknowledged, the announcers did, that they've been on a skid for a while. So to me, that seems to be a turning point if they're getting involved with it, that there's going to be an uptick in the faction.
Yeah, but you don't think there's going to be a program started between Austin Theory and Garza? Because I mean, it looks like they're having pretty serious heat back and forth.
It could head that way.
True, but if it's to the point where they're acknowledging where they're butting heads and things like that in a young stable like this, there's a chance that they could just do a complete 180 with it and they start dominating. So I mean, Andrade, when he was in NXT, the guy was close to getting cut because he got buried so far down on the card. His performances weren't that good, and then finally something clicked. And him and Drew were having, a match of the year contender for the title. So these two can still go at it.
Right.
Moving on, we had the Iconics. They returned. We won't talk much about this, but they returned tonight to challenge Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Iconics get the win, their first match in months, and announced for next week will be the Iconics versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the Tag Team Championship. Then moving on, we had Jinder Mahal promo, says he is on the road to redemption and that this time the journey to the top will be a hero's journey. So let me ask you guys this, Jay, in your opinion, do you think this will lead to Jinder Mahal versus a Drew McIntyre match, say around July, August?
I'm gonna say no because that booking is too far out for the WWE. It's not gonna happen. I think he's gonna have some good. They're gonna feed him some squash matches. He's gonna start slowly moving up the card, but I don't see him making it past mid card. To be honest with you.
So you don't see them telling the story of their past with 3MB, how they travel the roads up and down the country, and a potential title match, champion versus former champion. You don't see that?
Nope, not at all.
Interesting. Burndog, what do you think?
I think when you're talking about a hero, you're talking about a face. You're talking about a guy who's going to rise through the ranks. He's going to go through trials and tribulations to try to get back the gold.
Well, Jinder's definition of a hero might be something different than what we're thinking.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking he might be doing like a fake face thing and almost like a Kurt Angle type of thing, where he's gonna act like he's on his own path to glory, but it's actually going to be a heel the whole time. So he might be playing this whole like alter ego thing where he's such a positive guy, and he didn't really expand on it much though. What I did get out of it too is with the 3MB, everybody knows that they were in 3MB together. It was kind of a joke. I thought it was pretty funny at the time, but they were completely different characters back then. I mean, they weren't as heavily on roids, and they were trying to pull off the whole like boy band thing. If anybody doesn't know, but there was I can see them maybe going back to the well for that. Maybe trying to get into each other's heads, who left the boundaries, who went from complete nerd to monstrous stud, the best, who was it, who has the best back acne, let's see what we could get out of these two guys. I think Jinder has a lot of potential. I did enjoy his run, and it fit well with the whole Saudi Arabia thing. I don't know if one of those shows will come. Actually, no, yeah, we can't even fly anywhere. So
They're still talking about it though.
We got to see where we're gonna go with this. They got to give him a little more mic time maybe next week, and then let him expand on the story a little bit, because it was they always do these short stories, these short turnarounds, and they set up a title match for next week, and they need to build something out of him if you want him to be a champ again.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think they really want him to be a champ again because I think his reign as champion was forgettable. I think they only did it just to kick off the Saudi Arabia stuff, and that's why he carried it. Other than that, I thought he was very forgettable.
It's kind of a shame. It's a waste of a good character, but we'll see.
Cooper, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, because when you're talking about it, that is one of those heel champions who played it up really well. About how all Americans hate him, they're racist. They hate him because of his skin. He played that up pretty well. But as far as his matches, how he performed, meh. I mean, you're talking 3.
You know what I
matches.
liked? I liked how, as a heel, he was getting all the cheap wins from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
the Sings.
Yeah, the Sing Bros.
Yeah, I mean,
I honestly get a little charge out of that.
Yeah, and I mean, like the
cheat to win mentality of booking.
And then when Randy Orton tries to get it back in the Punjabi prison match, freaking Great Khali comes out. Why?
Yeah.
Khali barely made it to the ring that night.
Yeah, he could barely move. But I mean, still, his character wise, he played that really well, but his performance, mediocre at best. But at the same time now, since he's back, how can you reinvent the wheel with him since he's already gone through that one reign with this character? What's going to be his shtick at this point now?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, due to his look, he only really has one shtick, unless they put a hood on him. I think that's the only way he's going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, just for him, I'd bring back the Sing Bros because that's where he was at the height of his career. I think, so
it was
he needs something else other than
J&J security type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs something with him because him by himself is not enough. It's not enough to surpass the mid card. He needs something else.
think he just needs a bunch of wins to start out with and go from there.
Yeah, it's possible.
You need wins to gain a little bit of believability, for lack of a better word. But Jay, this is what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Undertaker, we saw the last ride package.
Mhm.
We saw a little bit of AJ going into that room with all the casket and the Undertaker music last night during that Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
So after that Undertaker last ride promo package was over, we see AJ watching TV, showing his frustration after watching that video. Let me ask you, do you think they're planting seeds for another match at possibly SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania?
Yeah, I think so. I think AJ is probably one of the only wrestlers that can carry The Undertaker to a good match. So why not have AJ retire The Undertaker fully? So I think it's going to be a slow burn to that, to some sort of big match at a Big Four.
Yeah, because we're not going to see Undertaker wrestle at Backlash. And
Yeah, he's
probably
got
not
like
even Extreme Rules, maybe Extreme Rules, but
I doubt it. It's going to take him like 6 months just to recover from WrestleMania still. So, which I kind of like, because then, again, it gives you that slow burn. It gives you that time to have AJ tell the story of the frustration of how he got beat at WrestleMania and plan and plot his revenge, if you will.
not to mention this year is Undertaker's 30th anniversary. It'll be 30 years of Survivor Series. There very well could be an Undertaker match there. I think this year's Survivor Series is going to be Undertaker themed. I would not be surprised. WrestleMania 7 will be 30 years from his WrestleMania debut from WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
Sorry. WrestleMania 37 will make 30 years. So I think we may see one final WrestleMania match there. But that's just speculation. But
Yeah.
I think it'll very well happen because we're hitting that 30th anniversary. Why not go out?
Yeah, and I think he should go out at a WrestleMania. Unfortunately, it's not with the streak. I would have booked him to lose the streak on the day he retires. That way he takes that streak with him. But, it is what it is now. But, yeah, I see him now a year-long build with AJ and The Undertaker telling a good story. Maybe he makes an appearance at Survivor Series just to kind of hype the story up some more so we don't forget about it. But yeah, I can see that happening.
He's got to be there, being year number or the 30th anniversary for him.
Yeah,
sense.
they're gonna do a 30 years of Undertaker promotion for sure, or something.
That's
There'll be something big on the network if he's
We're-
not wrestling.
We'll probably get about 5 Monday Night Raws worth of promos for the Undertaker's 30th anniversary.
Yeah, that's absolutely happening. Moving on. Still quite a bit to talk about, but we'll try to get through as quick as possible. We had Aleister Black versus Rey Mysterio. Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Blake Murphy. So Seth looks like he just got out of bed, not himself. Correction, Blake Murphy. Blake is looking at him really weird. Buddy Murphy, I'm sorry. So the match progresses. The ref calls a DQ. So this didn't make sense to me. The ref calls a DQ for no reason when Seth finally inserts himself into the match, but he's already part of the match. He's in the tag team with Buddy Murphy. So he inserts himself into the tag team match he's already in, and then all of a sudden the bell rings for no reason. What justifiable reason can they give for ringing the bell?
Well, did Seth tag in? Because if Seth did not tag in,
Still part of the match, though.
yes, he's still part of the match. But remember, there's still a 5 count from when you're supposed to tag in or when you're supposed to be outside of the ring. So if you come in for just to help beat the guy up, you're supposed to get out within 5. So if he just inserted himself in and wasn't tagged in and didn't stop by the referee's count, then technically it's a DQ. Granted, these rules are a little fluid, but that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
I think the referee maybe got the call in the middle of the match to kind of end it or something. But I thought it was going great. Alistair's really establishing himself. He's got a good set of moves. He can pull off pretty much anything, and I think he's eventually going to be able to hang with the heavyweights. Buddy Murphy also is putting on a great show week after week, match after match. He's got super athletic skills. I like some of his. I liked his interactions with Aleister Black. They're having great matches, but they've been having good matches together. The Rey Mysterio thing. I knew Seth was going to snap. I knew that's what they were setting up. Because I guess he was all frazzled from his loss last night. So he couldn't believe it, and he's trying to save everybody by securing the belt. So he snaps, he grabs Rey Mysterio through the ropes, and pretty much once he drags him out, that's when the ref calls it. So, I mean, there's been thousands of, tag guys jumping in. You can say every time a tag partner jumps in and hits the guy on the back when he's breaking up a count, like that could,
Right.
So they kind of brought back a very old rule for this reason, and for some reason when a high profile guy's in, they like to end the match weird. So I wasn't too much of a fan of that. I did like the whole Seth snapping thing, and I thoroughly enjoyed digging his eyeball into the corner of the stairs. I thought that was a good spot. I wonder why. Yeah, he punched him. They actually showed in the highlights. He punched him in the eye, so he set it up well, and will we see Rey Mysterio in the future? Is this the way to get rid of him for a little bit? I don't know.
Rey Mysterio's been through a lot. I mean, he fell off one of the levels of the roof last night. Then he got his eye digged in by the corner of the steps and caused him to gush out in blood.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot these last 24 hours.
He's getting beat up.
Yeah.
He's the whipping boy right now. So then I guess that finished the match. But then they also had a nice little backstage altercation. Seth and Buddy are standing over Rey. He's getting looked at. Aleister Black did some awesome, kind of shoot style stuff. Slammed his head off it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Looked like a real fight. I liked it. I'm liking the expanding Aleister story. I think he's going to rise up. I think he's going to be good, man. And he doesn't have to stay face. I'm looking forward to him maybe being a heel if he wants that title. So let's see.
Yeah, he definitely needs to carry some type of gold soon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know how soon that would happen on the Raw side.
Yeah. Who's got the IC belt? Is it still Sami
Zayn? Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And he's sitting home, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make him drop it.
Yeah, drop it. You gotta put it on one of these guys. Andrade has one. He's wrestling these great matches, but maybe slap it on Aleister, slap it on one of these guys that's hanging with the main eventers and could definitely hold the gold.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I think Aleister Black could benefit from maybe going to SmackDown to help boost SmackDown's roster.
Yeah.
You can keep Aleister Black face there. It'll kind of fill the void of the lack of star power on that side.
Yeah.
For sure. Roman Reigns being out, Daniel Bryan's being not even being booked properly. He should be featured as the main eventer at this point. Whether or not he has the title or not, he should still be in that main event picture. There's no business for him to be in the mid card.
Yeah.
So Aleister Black could benefit going on that side. We can see a lot of good matches there. I'm not too sure how you book Aleister Black on the Raw side, unless maybe you have him take the U.S. title from Andrade and then have Andrade go feud with Drew maybe around Survivor Series to get the belt off of Drew, so Drew can get his win at WrestleMania 37.
Well, it looks like they're starting to break down some borders, so you might see Aleister start moving his way over to Friday nights and having somebody from Friday nights moving across.
I think they've kind of realized that Raw is a lot more stacked than SmackDown is right now because SmackDown just sucks.
Well, you know what? SmackDown actually has more star power in general.
But they're not.
It's just the problem is the
Bruce
booking.
Pritchard sucks. Yeah.
The booking
So-
is bad.
Yeah, so I mean, like you've got these guys developing on Raw, like Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, even Ricochet's still there, even though he's not being used really. They're they're deep in the talent that they have, and especially with what Aleister's been doing recently, he can easily move to SmackDown and should be able to take the Intercontinental Championship. So I
Yes.
mean, and especially with the whole being thrown off the roof thing, just that anger and that fire inside of him, just kind of help fueling him.
Yeah, Aleister Black hasn't looked good the last 24 hours for sure, except for that little brawl that he had backstage. But he hasn't really
But-
looked that great.
But
Yeah, but I don't
They're
think it
really
hurt him.
wasting Fox. They're wasting their time on Fox too. It's kind of unbelievable that they got this.
I'm not a
high
fan of the
profile-
Fox presentation, to be honest with you. And the theme
It's-
song sucks.
Oh, it's so
AC.
cheesy. It's just so cheesy. The whole like they were just trying to bring back.
It's like a
this
Texas
great
theme
event.
song. It's ridiculous.
It
Yeah.
was and it's amazing though that they get these big accounts and they just waste it. Fox could have been a huge interdimensional thing between all aspects of media, and instead they're like turning into. They really went downhill when they started playing the replays and making that like the highlight of the show, like the John
Right.
Cena. It's like, listen, if you're a fan, you got the network, you go back, you watch John Cena. They were
Right.
wasting 45 minutes of the show for that. It was, I don't know what they're doing with Fox.
yeah,
And even on the commercial, they're still playing Cena's theme song to get you to be like, "Oh yeah, that's Cena. I remember that. Let me tune in."
yeah. I think the issue is I think Fox has WWE by the cojones on this deal. So I think because if you notice how Raw and SmackDown are presented, it's completely different how Fox and NBC want this ran.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
think Fox needs to get them off Friday nights. I think that's part of the problem.
I
Right?
don't
Nobody's
watch
watching wrestling on
nights.
Friday nights, especially now that we're rolling into the summer, or when we should be rolling into the summer. Nobody's gonna sit home and watch wrestling.
No, it was a perfect flow because I watched Monday Night Live, I watched Tuesday Night Live, and then I had NXT on Wednesday, get it all out of the way.
Yep.
And I had the rest of my week and then a pay-per-view on Sunday, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
It was a
like
good flow.
like I mentioned to you guys once before, about a year or two ago, it was Raw that was having a major problem, and
Yes.
SmackDown
Yeah.
was doing amazing. And somewhere along the way, right around when Fox took over,
Yeah,
Yep.
everything switched.
when SmackDown went live in 2016, they took the reins and became the A show. That was the show to watch, and it was good content. And then Fox took it over, and they just crapped the bed with it big time.
Yeah. Shame.
Yeah.
Moving on, we get the Viking Raiders. What, I don't know. I don't understand what this was. What am I seeing? And I get what they're trying to do is they're gonna probably build a series of competitions, axe throwing, maybe going to the driving range and seeing who could hit the target the best. Who knows what they're gonna do? But I think this is gonna be dragged out for a few weeks until Viking Raiders get their match against Street Profits once again for the tag titles. But we see Viking Raiders in a basketball game against Street Profits. What the hell am I watching? Street Profits win 74-2 in 4 quarters, 5 minutes apiece. And then all of a sudden the Viking Raiders come out and say they're just playing around, let them win. And then you see Rowan and Ivar hitting all these trick shots. What's
Eric and
the
Ivar.
hook shot, Eric and Ivar, the hook shots, and then you see Ivar dunk
Yeah. Big
on the
dunk.
10-foot rim. That
Yeah.
took a lot of edits. I mean, how am I supposed to believe a guy like that is going to slam dunk a 12-foot rim, a 10-foot rim with the ball?
Yeah. I think they're wasting this whole Viking thing because they're making the Vikings
Making it a joke.
They're mixing up like cavemen and Vikings. They that's not the Viking era. They're intelligent. They took over the world. You're making them seem like stupid idiots. They don't know what a basketball is. Like, stop. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. They're definitely ripping off like Mr. Perfect with that whole thing, like kind of bringing in outside sports. Like, listen, we know Street Profits are more athletic. Okay, let the Vikings drag them out, make a mockery out of them. Like, let's turn this thing into a real feud. They're doing stuff for the kids, and you know, I get it. Like, if you ever go to a live show, you know, you're surrounded by 5-year-olds, and like, it is what it is. But they don't have to be the guys to do it. You got Street Thugs versus Vikings, and they're in a gym throwing a basketball around. What is going on here? So you got to mix it up something different, man. I want to see blood and gore. I was kind of hoping one of the Vikings pulled out a sword and stabbed, you know, Montez, and then Montez pulls out a gun, you know, and then starts capping off rounds. And he's like, you know, like robbery progress, you know. So and then you can introduce like a new like big boss man to come in as like a cop, you know, like something new, you know. You had none of it. It's just going to be a joke, and they're going to stretch it out until Backlash.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I'd see War Machine playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Ridiculous. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, people, the rest of the IWC is going to be ripping on this one. I can guarantee you that. Natalya versus Shayna. We see Shayna Baszler with the win tonight. Shayna needs to get on a little bit of a roll here. She is floundering quickly. Absolutely floundering.
That match didn't help. I mean, did anybody else notice how sloppy that match was? And because
Yeah.
Natty doesn't have bad matches, she's a very good technical wrestler, and she struggled to carry Shayna tonight.
Yeah. Well, Shayna, I saw Natalya tried doing like a Imanari roll at one point to like turn it into a submission. It was, you know, it was pretty interesting. You know, Natalya was like, "Oh, come on, Shayna." She's like trying to lift her up. It was definitely cheesy. It didn't really fit. Once again, they're not really playing into Shayna's strengths, and I wonder if she might be one of those paint on the wall. But then after the match, she's backstage, and she's shooting on Becky's baby. And you know, in my evil mind, I kind of enjoyed it because it was such a derogatory comment to make fun of an unborn child. I felt like she really needed that to establish herself as a heel. You know, like you guys said, man, you know, you got to do something with this girl, or else it's going to go downhill. She's not Ronda Rousey. She never was. She's not as athletic, but she is a staple in the MMA community. She's big with like catch wrestling, so she knows she has a history to her. And I think it is important for her to be in the forefront and not just be like a jobber. But you gotta bring some type of excitement here. You gotta make Natalya bloody. You gotta beat her down. It can't be these squeak out matches. And these are two technical wrestlers too.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, if she's such a good technical wrestler and can do catch wrestling, then make it, you know, call the match in that way. Don't go for this mean, I'm gonna break your arm. Do the technical stuff. If that's what's gonna carry you, that's what's gonna carry you. Do it. You know, and we saw Bret Hart make a career out of catch wrestling. I mean, he wasn't flashy. He did submissions. He did holds. He did, you know, if that's what you can do, do it.
Yeah.
And you work on the emotions.
Well, even still, I think Shayna went 0 for 2 tonight. So that not only was that match sloppy, that promo afterwards, yeah, she shot like a heel, but it wasn't just Becky she went after. She was just talking about, you know, 12 out of 12 mothers would recommend or would never recover and get back at it. That's where it started hitting the tipping point, and it's like she's going to get a lot of backlash for that, or somebody in writing is going to get backlash for that, because that hit just a little bit below the belt, and I can see why that would piss in some Wheaties big time.
Yeah, that was the wrong heat. That was the X-Pac heat.
Yeah, that's that should have been taken off the table and out of her script, because that hit the point, and it went from talking about Becky, who she fought before, to just mothers in general, and especially coming off of Mother's Day. Like that. Yeah, she picked the wrong way to build heat and get it taken or cut the promo. So yeah, 0 for 2 for Shayna tonight.
Moving on, as we start heading towards the end of the show, we have one more thing to talk about: Randy Orton versus Edge confrontation. I was wondering how this was going to pan out. We see Edge in the ring. Randy Orton comes out, and they're going back and forth. And maybe one of you guys can elaborate more on it. But basically, Randy Orton laid out the challenge for Edge, and then the show goes off the air. Edge speechless.
Yeah. So essentially,
No answer from Edge.
well, Randy Orton was calling him out in the sense that it's been 11 years since he's been in a quote unquote wrestling match. Right. So he came back for WrestleMania for his match, but it was a last man standing match. You know, the only stipulation is that there are no there are no rules to it. So Randy was basically telling him that, you know, I dare you to come out and do a wrestling match. Let's wrestle. You know, we know what each other can do. Do you still have it in you? Do you still have the fire in you? Can you pull off a wrestling match? I like the emotion that Randy Orton showed in this promo. You know, it shows that he's excited to work with his old friend again. You know, I haven't seen him deliver a promo of this magnitude with that much emotion in quite a long time. So I'm excited for where this feud goes.
There's a lot of history there, and we haven't seen Edge wrestle. Actually, I was at this match too. Technically Edge's last wrestling match, if you want to call it that. WrestleMania 27, Edge versus Alberto Del Rio,
World Heavyweight
the
Championship.
Georgian though.
That's whenever he destroyed his car after the match too.
Yep, Edge and Christian destroyed the car. Yep, I was at that show, and that was technically Edge's last wrestling match before he showed up this year.
Yep.
So it's some good history there, good long term storytelling, and Randy Orton even said himself, the whole story writes itself.
Yeah,
I think Randy very rarely gets a lot of mic time. He's more action and he's very few words. But this promo, and especially where he was talking about, you know, the last man standing, he said, you know, even when you had me and you crushed my skull between two chairs, it didn't take me 9 years to get back on my feet,
right,
and get back in a ring. So hitting below the belt like that, and you know, typical Randy is talk for a second, RKO, walk out.
right.
This was completely different, and you know, it's like he tried getting under his skin and playing the mind game a little bit further, like the old Randy Orton. Granted, he looks a lot older now with that gray beard coming in, but he's getting back to the old mental games, like what he used to do with Triple H and Stephanie. This is the Randy Orton that I want right now,
for sure.
Final thoughts of the night. We have a new little segment. This one's for you, Pern Dog, which you'll now go by
Pastor Pern.
Pastor Pern.
Pastor Pern, baby. I always have a thought. You know, it's always coming, and I'm always
Go
gonna give
go
it to
at
you
it.
raw.
Go all out. Share your heart.
All right, let's start back. Let's take it back. 30 years ago, the golden era. All right, that's when it all began. That's when it became near and dear to our hearts. All right, we stared at these men. We idolized them. We wondered, are we going to grow up to be just like them? We wanted to see the world through their eyes, the wonderful characters, the storylines, the way they looked at us. Was he really beating him up? Did he really steal his wife? We didn't know. Then we delved into the era after that with the wonderful characters that made us laugh and the different people coming over from the other federations. Then we got to the Attitude Era, and it was real again. It was real. We had reality, and there we were. We were trying to idolize them. We were telling our bosses to buzz off. All right, we were doing the things that they were doing, and it was a part of our lives. And then we got to the John Cena era, and we wondered, will it ever go back again? Will it ever become real? Well, it only becomes real when you make it real. So listen up, people. We have to start getting real serious about this. We have to start thinking, delving deep into our minds and wondering, are we going to keep this around forever? Or is it going to end now? We're going to let the corporation take over. We're going to let Fox play these crappy theme songs and burn our eardrums out. I don't know. But let me just tell you, let me give you one word of advice. All right. You take the world on tomorrow. You go in tomorrow, okay? And somebody tries shoving you with a shopping cart at Costco, and it starts getting on your nerves. Man, you let it build up. You let it build up. You go out in the parking lot, okay? And you let it out. You let it out on the world because wrestling is here. It's still here. It's still thriving. Deep Six Podcast is keeping it live. And we always are going to give it to you real. And that's the one point that we're trying to get across is that it's still here. It's still now. And we're trying to fix things, baby. We're trying to fix things. Now, you could say it's geared towards the kids. And I do understand that, okay? The kids are always going to be the fans. They're always going to rise up. But you have to keep it in your heart, okay? You have to keep it in your heart and let the heart bleed, right? If it's going to be a bad guy, let it be the worst bad guy of all time. If you're going to be a good guy, you got to do the right thing and you got to just be all happy and nice, right? But then when the bad guy comes your way, what are you going to say to him? Are you going to be the righteous person? Are you going to tell him to stop? Or are you going to appreciate that you have somebody against you? So when you look at someone that's telling you, oh, you still watch that stuff? Yeah, I still watch that stuff and I still enjoy it. Okay, it's entertaining. Okay, it makes my day, it makes my week. And when the boss tells you something you don't like, you keep it brewing in your head for later. You think of something good to say and you bust it out and you get that fuzzy feeling in your body. You get that fuzzy feeling, man. And you're like, man, that was a good moment. It took me over. It got my adrenaline going. And that's what you really want, right? You really want to get the adrenaline going. So let me tell you something. I've been thinking about this for a long time and finally got together with four minds alike. We're letting the electricity run through our veins and just pulsate out to the universe. And we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it going and we're never going to stop. And that's the way it was. Now I'm going to try to get it open, baby. Try to get it open. And if it doesn't work, well, we have to just keep it tight to our hearts. And that's all we can do is speak our minds and we'll live forever in infamy. Woo! Deep Six for life, kiddies. And that's all the Father has for today.
Wow, what a word.
Wow.
Hallelujah.
I feel
Unreal.
revived.
Straight from the heart.
Jay's gonna have to use that MJF scarf to wipe down.
Oh, look.
Oh.
Wow.
That's a sneak
Get one
peek
of those over, Daddy.
coming soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of which, let's start throwing out some plugs for our friends. Right, we got
yes.
Level 1 Games.
Yes,
with
from
them.
Pumpkin Plains, New Jersey.
We've got A&J's belts for all of your replica belt needs. We've got Level 1 Audio, who did our fantastic theme song for us. So give them a shout. Who else we got there, Wayne?
We got Back Sports page for posting our shows each and every single week. And we also got the Living the Gimmick podcast for allowing us to share our videos with them, with their Patreons. So those are the shout outs, man. We got to give honor to where honor is due.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Jay Cooper, Pern Dog, a.k.a. Pastor Pern.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you guys for coming on tonight. For those of you who are watching or will be listening throughout the week, please give us a subscribe and like and share with your friends our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast channel. If you can't find it, you could also search us through the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast Facebook page as well. Also available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play for your listening needs. If you cannot watch, you can also listen. And of course, feel free to share with your friends. And we thank you guys for hopping on tonight. And we thank our fans for watching and listening. And
Tune in next week. Woo!
yes, absolutely. Tune in next week. We'll be back Wednesday night for our midweek mashup and AEW talk. In the meantime, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. Hit it, Jay.